This is the Mana Sword.
From the moment I booted up this game, I could tell that there was a cool, unique charm and mystifying aura about this game. Trials of Mana was originally released on the Super Famicom back in 1995, known as Seiken Densetsu 3. The game never saw a Western release till several years later when Trials of Mana was released within the Collection of Mana game in 2019. It was during E3 2019 when Square Enix said that not only Trials of Mana was going to be localized in the Collection of Mana game, but it was getting a full-on remake to be released for the Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Steam in 2020, and that day is finally here. When I first saw this game, I was immediately drawn to the art style, and I just like how simple and clean all the characters look. While this is a budget game made by Square Enix, I could still tell they put a lot of love and care into this game as compared to the Secret Mana remake, which we ain't gonna talk about that. For those who want to experiment and try out this game before taking the plunge, there is a demo on the Nintendo eShop, the PlayStation Store, and on Steam, which allows you to carry over your save progress to the full game whenever you obtain it. And this is something I've been really appreciating from Square Enix with their releases. The Nintendo Switch version of the game runs at a solid 30 frames per second, while the Steam and PS4 versions run at 60 frames per second. I played the Nintendo Switch version, and despite it running at 30 frames per second, it still ran and looked great. The only way how you can notice that little detail a ton is if you looked at one version of the game and immediately looked at the other version of the game, which for most people, they're probably either going to stick to like stick purely to Steam, stick purely to PS4, or stick purely to Switch, and there's not going to be a lot of people double dipping, but I can understand the reason why somebody might want to double dip. So to say, like if they had it on the PS4, they wanted the better graphics and the prettier kind of visual aesthetic with that kind of side of the game, and then also want to have the Switch version for the portability's sake. In terms of the story, you get to begin your adventure by choosing any one of 6 playable characters as your main character, which consists of
I'm a soldier from Volsena. The name's Duran.
I'm Angela, Princess of Altena.
Name's Hawkeye, renowned thief from Navarro.
I am Reese. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Heaven, that's me.
I'm Charlotte, resident beauty of Wendell.
You get to choose 2 other characters to assist you, and you get to meet them later on as they join your party throughout your adventure. Each character has a unique backstory, and before you know it, all of their paths will cross in one way or another as you progress through the story. Since you get to choose who accompanies you during the story, it allows for replayability in order for you to see the other story elements that you couldn't quite see before, and allows the perfect opportunity for you to come back and play more and see what this amazing world has to offer. For my original playthrough, I chose Duran as my main character, and I had Reese and Angela accompany me. Depending on which main character you choose will determine which of 3 antagonists will be your specialized main antagonist. If you choose Duran or Angela, you'll have the Crimson Wizard as your main adversary. He's the right-hand man for the true queen of Altena and seeks to attack Volsena. If you choose Kevin or Charlotte as your main character, Gorman will be your main antagonist. He's a terrifying creature who dresses like a jester and eats human souls. Lastly, if you choose Hawkeye or Reese as your main character, Belladonna will be the main antagonist. She's a gorgeous woman who bewitches the leader of the Navarran thieves gods. Each of these antagonists have different goals of what they want to do and accomplish, so it takes at least 3 playthroughs to fully see what each villain has to offer. Now, in terms of the game length, it takes roughly about 25 hours, and for me personally, it took about 23 hours in order to beat the main story, but with the replay value of this game, you can easily get up to over 75 hours in this game. There is also a brand new post-game in this new remake, which it only takes about an extra few hours, in which I am currently working on at the moment. Now, while it does add a little bit of extra content, it doesn't do anything super substantial that adds a lot of extra playtime, but it is critical to finish it in order to unlock New Game Plus, which allows you to reap some of the benefits of your current playthrough in order to carry that progression over into your next game. Now, for one of the most critical and crucial parts of the game, the combat. Trials of Mana back in the early 16-bit era was one of the first few games that really kickstarted the action RPG genre. You have a light attack, a heavy attack, jump, and a dodge button, and in the original game you didn't have the ability to dodge or jump in the air. They also added a charge attack in this game as well, so they greatly expanded on the options that are presented in this remake compared to the original. Looking at other games, you're usually stuck to controlling one main character during the vast majority of the game, but for Trials of Mana that is a different story. During any moment in combat, you can choose to switch between any of your characters in your party. You can also give commands to your other allies and command them to use their spells or for them to use items in whatever way you seem fit. Now, since you can only control one character at a time, the AI for them can be a bit rough at times, and they can be hit by multiple different enemy attacks, but thankfully you can customize the AI. Now, you can set them to go all out or be highly defensive or anything in between. Lastly, once you build up enough of your CS gauge, you can let out a special attack onto your enemies, which can do some devastating damage. In terms of your character growth, each of your characters gain SP when they level up, and you can put that towards learning more skills and moves in which it can help them during battle. The one thing I liked about this layout is once you put your SP towards a certain stat like power or luck, it just moves further along within that actual path. And I honestly love this approach way more than skill trees because this is a simpler and more so straight to the point, and it doesn't force you to have to think and plan every single step you need in order to get the skills that you desperately want. So in this game there's like different categories for each one of your specialized stats, and if you want to at any given moment you can reset all your stats to get all your SP points back, and you can reallocate them in whatever way you want to though, but it's more sort of like a straightforward linear way instead of the branch out sort of kind of skill tree that you see within other RPGs. So it's just something that I really liked and enjoyed within Trials of Mana. So overall, some of my most favorite moments were some of the boss battles that you got to engage with in this game. And they were some of the most fun challenges in the game by pulling off all your specials and combos and spells. It was just a pure joy to play this unique action RPG in which I felt like it didn't have that many restrictions. I did felt like that once I got deep enough into the story that some of the bosses were a bit too easy, and I was playing on normal mode throughout the whole length of the game. Now this game does have an easy, normal, and a hard mode, and you can switch between them at any point during the game if you so please. So if at one point the game has a boss that is giving you too much of a hard time or whatever though, you can dial back that difficulty or increase it if you want to add more stakes to your adventure though. Now, one other last thing I should mention is the voice acting in this game. And for the most part, I found the voice acting to be pretty enjoyable with all these different characters, especially Duran and Reese, which were my personal favorites. However, for Charlotte, on the other hand, oh boy, that was a whole different kind of story.
I grew up with no parents, but there was one priest in Wendo that was always nice to me. Heath was kind and helpful.
While I wasn't too fond of her voice due to some dialect the actor was trying to portray, it's not by a significant extent where it just harms the game because it does so many other things right. And for all y'all that are curious, yes, there are multiple language packs in here. So if you want to, you can play the game with English subtitles, but with the original Japanese voice actors as well. So you can play that with the English voice acting or the Japanese voice acting with the subtitles. So you can play in whatever way that kind of suits your play style though. So overall, this game is super charming from the art style and super fluid and fun action combat that kept me heavily invested from start to finish throughout the whole entire game. And once I finish my first playthrough with the post game, I'm likely going to dive back in at some point to experience the other 3 characters that I didn't get to play as. So if you're looking for an RPG that has some solid fun with, that doesn't have a super serious tone or over the top tactics that may be included in a traditional RPG, then Trials of Mana may be right up your alley. So what are you waiting for? Take up your sword, your lance, your staff, your knives, or your fists and get ready to make the plunge to explore the magical mana-filled world of Trials of Mana. So if you really like this review, go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell in order to stay up to date on all things on my channel gaming related though. So remember y'all, until whatever video I make next, See y'all.
Ever since that day you beat me, I've been getting stronger. I'll show you power. Right here, right now.